This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. A History of Shock Film by Eddie Daniels. Chapter 1. What is a shock film? Nearly every movie contains some sort of shock. A good plot twist can feel shocking. A shot of beautiful scenery can provide a jolt. In this book, I'm exploring a specific type of shock, one that breaks taboos, specifically in the realms of sex, violence, profanity, sacrilege, controversial messaging, and a few other areas that many cultures find transgressive. The films that contain these shocks often fall in the genres of horror, exploitation, or art films, but can come from anywhere. Beyond that vague description, it's difficult to define what constitutes shocking content. It's different for everyone. One person could have no problem with nudity but avert their eyes at any sight of blood, while another can be just the opposite. Cultures are also very different. A Danish audience likely won't be bothered by a blasphemous scene that would horrify a group of Saudis. To keep this book at a reasonable length, I have to pick one culture to focus on. And when it comes to movie history, it's hard not to at least start with the United States. The United States has produced the most films that have received widespread international viewership. Even if you focus on only the most historically significant films as chosen by the likes of critics and directors, the United States is dominant. A French, Italian, or Japanese cinephile might disagree with that, but I have data. The website They Shoot Pictures, Don't They? Compiles thousands of lists of favorites to produce a top 1,000 film list. It includes the entries of the more famous Sight and Sound poll, plus hundreds more from people in the know about movies. This larger pool makes They Shoot Pictures, Don't They? Is list more valid and less mercurial than Sight and Sound's, in my view. Of the top 1,000 in the 2025 list, the most recent at this writing, 427 are primarily from the United States. France is second with 142, and Italy and the United Kingdom are tied for third with 64. This isn't to say that American films are objectively better. It's just to say that there's some justification for putting the United States at the center of my review of shock films. Plus, I am American, and it's not easy to remove your own cultural lens. But I won't be the typical American who ignores non-American film. Americans may have made more great films than any other country, but as you can see from the above numbers, they don't have a majority. And even the most American-centric overview of shock films wouldn't be complete without all the non-American influences. Thus, for the most part, I'm covering the film content that has shocked American/Western audiences. Even with that focus, there is a surplus of candidates. I'll try my best to cover the films that are the most interesting and best illustrate how what shocks us has changed in the past 130 years. Why I'm interested in shock films. No one outside of my friends and family is reading this book to learn about me. But explaining why I'm interested in shock films might shed some light into why other people like them, without me indulging in the pretense of speaking for all humanity. While I'm pretty arrogant to write about myself, I think I'd be even more arrogant to try to write on behalf of everyone. This is why I write in first person, a lot. It isn't entirely out of egotism. I think that most people who write about art try too hard to universalize their own subjective reactions. Film criticism is full of overgeneralizations, using phrases like, "this gives the viewer the feeling that," and "the film doesn't work because." What the writer really means is, "this gives me the feeling that," and "the film doesn't work for me because." No writer can reach into the brains of the rest of humanity. To me, attempting to speak for everyone about something as subjective as art is even more egotistical than frequently referring to yourself. Only through a consensus of many opinions can you reach anything close to a generalization about a film's quality. A single person can't decide whether a movie is objectively good or bad. They can only say if they liked it and why. I didn't invent this perspective. A version of it dates back at least to the 1950s, with a critic named Robert Warshaw. In the preface of an essay collection called The Immediate Experience, He writes about
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.